nation in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up by the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up by the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Top of the evening to you guys. Saturday, the 15th day of August 2026. I welcome each and every one of you to tonight's broadcast of Over to You, a program for the people, absolutely by the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you're all keeping well. As you know, I always have to greet you to make sure that everyone here is okay and doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your program, so I ask everyone to just take a minute before I get into the roll call and do a little administrative duty of giving a little thumbs up on YouTube and sharing the broadcast. Share the broadcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in some critical times here. All right, and we're going to have some discourse this evening. I'm going to pivot back to a few things that I would have said very, very early after the 2020 elections, that I'm seeing that it is coming to fruition, and I hope it is, that the leaders across the combined opposition is seeing exactly what I am seeing. So we're going to dig in a bit. I'm going to go ahead now, and I am going to do tonight's roll call. Marcus Paul, Canarsie, Brooklyn is in the house. A pleasant good evening to you. Sandra Hanover, the freedom fighter, she is here. Good evening to you. Yvonne Rodriguez is in the house, so I am figuring that Barbados is indeed in the house. Darkus John is here. A pleasant good evening to you. Eva is here. Good evening to you. Let's see who else we have. Miss Sharon Griffith is in the house. A pleasant good evening to you. Brenda Moore, good evening. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Mary Figueroa, our first Canadian, is in the house. Floretta Hamilton is here. Good evening to you, Miss Hamilton. Miss Pam Halls is here. Good evening. The freedom fighter, Miss Maxine Monroe, Pace and Power. Miss Audrey Brown is here. Miss Brown, it's good to have you here this evening. Miss Karen Clark is in the house. Good evening. Miss Desiree Smart Felix, by way of New Amsterdam, our second Canadian, is in the house. Good evening to you. Rosemary Martindale Brackett is here. Good evening. Our executive producer, Mr. Gavin Caesar, is here. Good evening, Gavin. Mayborn King is in the house. Good evening. Desiree Duncan is here. Good evening, Miss Duncan. Miss Orwell Dawn Cook is here. Good evening, Miss Cook. Good to see you. Beverly Bovell is here. Good evening. Shondell C. Canterbury is in the house. Good evening, Shondell. The Honorable Mr. Victor Ben, our third Canadian, is in the house. Good evening, Victor. So true, Hector. Peace and power. Good evening to you. Patricia Kesoon is here. Good evening. Deslin Wilson, by way of Victoria. Yes, the first village. Good evening to you, Miss Wilson. Marianne Hamilton Nestor is in the house. Good evening to you. Sandra Sargent is here. Good evening. Desiree Narain, a pleasant good evening to you. Lester Tom, good evening, my brother. Carlton Smith. Good evening, Mr. Smith. Steve Dunlap in the house. Good evening, Steve. Desiree Duncan. Good evening. I might have called your name before. And Rhonda Tuesday. A pleasant good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's broadcast of Over to You, a program for you, by you. It's going to always be that way. All right. Joy A. Hopkinson. Miss Hopkinson, you almost missed the roll call, but I see you slip through the door. I was about to check your name as absent. I see Claire Capel coming in too. Good evening. Good evening. All right. You're late for class, but it's okay. It's okay. There's no penalizing for being late. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wayne, do you know Jason Ben? Yes, Jason is my friend. Why Miss Rhonda Tuesday? Say it in the comments so I could see. Yes, Jason Benjamin is a good friend of mine. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So we see what's going on. Aha! Jason is your brother. Well, your brother happens to be a very good friend of mine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dig in this evening. Let's dig in. Where do we start? Wait. Did we have a MV Barima tragedy there? Did that ever happen? What happened? Ladies and gentlemen, what happened? Was this installed 19 fraud charge President caught red-handedly with a 150-acre farm worth $5.5 billion? Did this ever happen? Or is it that we all went to sleep and dreamed this thing and we had Over to You and all the other programs in our dreams, and now we get up back and nothing ain't happen? Is it that the Court brothers, amongst others, if you call their names today, they are not going to reply to you? And are we satisfied with that? Are we still willing to call that a dream? What is happening to us? That's the question that I'm here to ask tonight. And hear this. I'm going to say it out front. So if there's anybody who is tuning in, I know you guys, I don't worry about you guys. But if there's anybody who is going to tune in thinking that Wayne Caesar is going to single out anybody, nobody getting singled out here. Right? Because this fight is not a singular fight. It's all of us got to come together and form a quorum. So if it's anything, all of us got to take blame. Okay? All of us. But more so, the people that sits in leadership. Right? There's a definition to leadership. All right? Good evening, Miss Lachman Aziz. Good evening, Miss Brenda Casey. Caroline Hinson, good evening. Harriet Hall, good evening. I'm watching y'all coming through the door late for class. Miss Casey, you are a former educator. You came to class late tonight. I'm waiting to see if you're going to call me this week to tell me something. All right. Carlel Madu, I see you slipping there too. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about where we are. Listen, man. As an opposition, if you want to have teeth in this fight, all right, you got to present authentic people who can go on the international scene and have an impact. Who, from an international perspective, they're going to look in and they're going to say, well, okay, we got to answer to this person. Right? I don't believe that that is a state when we look at the opposition, and a lot of people was very, very antsy and very, they were fighting. Let's get the opposition leader in place and let's do all these things. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask the critical question tonight, because this thing called leadership, man, this thing, a lot of things comes along with leadership. Your portfolio of skills, you must have a preponderance of skills in order to be, deemed a quote-unquote excellent leader. Okay? You gotta have negotiation skills. You got to have the skills to sell your vision as a leader. Right? You see, here what does happen? People bums is raised when you start calling things out. All right? As Azriddin Mohammed name gonna get called out. I say I ain't calling out, and his name getting called out because I'm targeting him. This is not a target for anybody directly. This program here, we talking about the combined opposition, and we talking about consultation. This is what we talking about. Because here is the question that I'm willing to ask this evening. How long do you guys think that the Guyanese people are going to hold out and wait for you guys to formulate a plan? I want anybody on this program to tell me this evening if that leader of the opposition, the combined opposition, would have brought forth a vision as to how this combined opposition is going to challenge the government. Anybody on the program? Anybody on the program? You see, ladies and gentlemen, these are the things that I talk about. You cannot fight your way into a seat and then you sit down. Going out there and exposing this, and every time somebody, something go wrong with somebody, going down and being on the ground and this and that. No, ladies and gentlemen, that's not it. That's for your MPs. And every once in a while, you can show up. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to just use myself as an example. All right? I remember when I debuted on Mark Benchcott's program Straight Up some years ago. All right? You guys accepted me, and you guys watched me patiently and waited for me to grow. And I grow into who I am today. Oh, yes. You guys would have nurtured me. Miss Desiree Simons, Miss Brenda Casey, a whole set of them. Miss Orwell Dawn Cook, Miss Sandra Hanover, a lot of females, a lot of the women. They nurtured me. They believed in me. And also that came through communication with them, where I would reach out to them and they would critique me. Mr. Basil Bradshaw, National Broadcasting Guyana. Or you would critique the programs. Mr. Mark Benchcott. And I would reach out to them. After every program, I recall myself reaching out to Basil to ask him, hey, where do I need to sharpen up? Because I respected you, the people. And I knew that when I come on, I had to present, I had to bring substance to the table and be able to present. No. Azriddin Mohammed, you cannot have someone like Comrade Aubrey Norton sitting there and not leveraging him. It's not embarrassing to reach out to him. It's not. The guy has been in politics for how long? Longer than most of us age. Why not? I'm not ashamed. What is it that I need to be ashamed of? Instead of that, you holding that key position as leader of the opposition have not presented, because I do not see anyone here saying that, yes, Wayne, you miss it. Azruddin Mohammed has this vision out. Nobody has said nothing. That means that there's no vision. So if we don't have vision, ladies and gentlemen, where are we going? Where are we going? We can't sit down and abuse people when they jump ship. Because what? They are not convinced of anything. There is no vision. There is nothing laid out. There is nothing there. We had a tragedy in Guyana. You use your own resource, your boat, you go there, you capture bodies, you do it. Great. Great. That we're thankful for. But there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture. And not exposing who is millionaire, what house they got. Look how much house this man got. Look how much. All right. You did that. What does that do for the normal Guyanese? We got to think. We've got to think. What is that doing for the normal Guyanese? What is that doing for people that are in your party on the fringes of leadership? They're not in that core leadership pool, but they're on the fringes of leadership. What is that doing? Because it can't be telling them, oh, you need to get rich so that whenever we got a tragedy, you have a boat that you can use to go out, or you have a helicopter that you could fly, or you got a fancy car. Here's the example. Here's the template to get rich. Nobody has shown the people a template to move forward. Nothing. No president in Guyana ever did that. David Granger would have presented ideas. LFS Barnum is the greatest of them all. I don't care how people talk about his flaws. Everybody got flaws, including me. I don't care. LFS Barnum is head and heels over everybody else. You see a little 19 fraud charge guy going and sit down and play a little domino, and all of a sudden, oh, he's the coolest guy. The coolest guy with 60% of Guyanese in poverty, 35% abject poverty. What's cool about that? What is cool about that? And we took off a week from protesting? And we took off a week from protesting? Even if the APNU decided that they ain't protesting, where's Wayne? Wayne is the lead party in the opposition. And so many are convinced that Wayne and the PPP are separate. Let me say this. I believe that Guyanese have really created more confusion for themselves. They have made the equation so much harder to solve. Okay? The equation is the equation being difficult to solve is not making the equation more complex to solve. Is not with the creation of the Win Party. Is who you guys would have taken and put at the top of the party as the leader. Not anybody's a leader. But everybody can become a leader. You got to work. You got to study. You got to study. So, a lot of people was complaining about Comrade Norton when he was the opposition leader. A lot of people complained. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with all due respect, the needle hasn't moved here. It's a year. The needle hasn't moved. Nothing has happened at GCOM. If we're having free and fair elections, nothing has happened at GCOM. What's the plan? To overthrow the government? I didn't hear about that plan. So you fully well know that your electoral apparatus have to be effective and efficient. It doesn't need to be corrupt. It needs to be effective and efficient. So I beg to ask the question across the entire opposition. What's going on with electoral reform in Guyana? That's critical to any nation. It is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go back to a few things that I would have said over my time. And one of the first things that I would have said is that this PPP government, because everybody was talking about when the 2020 election, the decision that was made and everything. Some people say, oh, don't worry, we're going to have free and fair election and we're going to get them. You're dealing with Barry Jagdeo. He's not the smartest. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But what has happened over time, he has never been challenged. Okay? He has not been challenged enough. Even if he has been challenged, it hasn't been consistent enough. So what they did, the PPP went on to start building fair communities and enhancing the lives of their people. Hence the quote, friends, family, and favorites. All right? That's what they went on to do. So when we look across the black communities, what I would have said is that they're going to suppress and oppress them. That has happened. What I would have also said is that when those same PPP leaders go into those villages, the weak shall come out and they shall bow to them. So said, so done. It has even started in the opposition, where I speak of people who are in the party and is at the fringes of leadership, would have jumped the broom, would have stepped out of one train lane and into the other train lane. And that's where I talk about, again, leadership. Okay? Being able to engage your people and convince them that staying on is the correct thing. You cannot be silent, because when you are silent, people assume. People assume, and a lot of times when they assume the wrong thing, that you don't care. When people are assuming, they don't take into consideration that you are the leader of one of Guyana's largest mass parties. And there's a lot of things that is coming by you that you have to answer to, and all of these type of things. They believe the work is just always seeing you. So sometimes in your communication, whenever you have press conference and these things, you have to communicate to the people and let them know that, hey, I'm not dodging you guys. I am doing your work. All right. I am doing your work. Consistent communication. You must have that with the people, because then they're going to start questioning you. They're going to start asking where you are. You can't tell them they can't do that. These are the same people that just go out and vote for you. Some of these people are the same people who just got to get out on Facebook to deal with the antagonists from the PPPC. So you can't sit down there and ignore them as a leader. You must be able to engage with them. So what we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is complete silence. And that's not good enough. That's not good at all. I take back good enough. It's not good. Period. So I talked about that. Oppress and suppress and get them. The weak shall transition over because they don't know any better. The other parties make those parties broke. I'm still not convinced when we speak of win. Because those guys can be working under the table where they're giving him funds. And they're attracting the people with funds on one side. And he is attracting the people with funds on the other side. So that makes these two institutions, political institutions, the two most powerful political institutions. And nothing is not coming to the PNCR and by extension the APNU. Nothing is coming the way of that mass institution. We got to read this thing. We got to read this thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen. They are in a position, and when I say they, you guys are smart here. I don't always got to come and explain everything. They, you guys know what I mean by they can't lose. Because if the PPP lose, they are going to still win. Okay? If the PPP lose, they are going to still win. I wish I could have told the people to not do that. I get the opportunity. I got the opportunity. I told them, let me take that back. I retake that. I wish the people would have listened to me. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading down the road where we may have a one-party state, or there's a chance that we may have two parties. Because, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you guys had this concept that the whole thing is to eliminate the PNCR and by extension the APNU. I say this to you guys. I absolutely agree with you 100% because I can see it as I do my analysis, as I do my research, as I look in. Look, man, a lot of us, we like to sit down and say, oh, go back and look at the history. No, stop. Stop. Look at what is in front of you and interpret it. You have a brain. Use your brain. Stop using other people's work. Stop using other people's work. Use your brain. You are given one for a reason. Use it. You guys are going to die like flies in Guyana. People are saying, Mr. Caesar, why are you saying that? Man, I'm seeing what's going on. Guyana is going to become a calamity. Two struck down there in the Beehive area, just struck down, run over by an officer. The guy on the Linden Highway there just Friday night. It's just blood, blood, blood all the time. The guys them stabbing up each other at the Starbrook Market. You know, what is our country? What happened to Guyana? What happened to Guyana? Yes, Jason, the weak shall perish. You got to be strong. Look, even if you're weak, hold on Jason Benjamin. Hold on Wayne Caesar. Okay? We are not going to bend. We are not going to bend. We are built for this. Look at the people that are built for this. Ladies and gentlemen, I can only be good. I cannot be anything else. Okay? I cannot be corrupt. I'm not interested in that. My character matters to me more than anything else. And I love to help people. We are such a rich country. We are so rich in resources. Y'all think what the PPP is doing in Linden. It's like, oh my God, the infrastructure in Linden for electricity and these things have gone so bad or has gone unmaintained. No. What is happening in Linden is a part of a broader strategy. You see, the PPP, all right, the PPP, the international community, investors, hotel investors in real estate, amongst other things, they want Linden. They want Linden, but they don't want the black that has come with it. Meaning the Africans. The Africans are attached to Linden. They want to take the blanket and they want to shake off all the black. We want it, but we want the black. We're going to oppress. We're going to suppress. We're going to frustrate them. We're going to take away the water from them. They're going to get blackouts like they never had before. We're going to make them so uncomfortable. We're going to probably offer housing. Okay? In some low-scale community, in some low area, swampy, that does flood and thing, to them, so that we can get them out of there, because we want to put up, all right, our riverside attraction, our casinos, our theme parks, and these massive hotels. We are going to invest billions of dollars in Linden. When you're flying in to Temeri Airport / what they call it, Cheddi Jagan International. I'm not going to just say Cheddi Jagan International. I'm going to put historic context to that, Temeri. And then I would put the / Cheddi Jagan International Airport. As you fly in, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see the high rises. You're going to see the waterfront. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember Moko. When the highway was going there, it didn't even go through where they bulldoze all the black people. Yes, the black people. The African Guyanese. Yes, bulldoze them off of their own ancestral lands. You know why? Because when the highway passed next to that farming area where the people had their livestock that was buried. Yes, international community. Livestock buried. Okay? Where their livestock was buried when the big dignitaries come into Guyana with their short and their tie and their suit, and they sit down in their limo and they're passing by there. They mustn't see that it's a farming community. They must not see, they must not get the vision that Guyana have poor people. Okay? Take them straight down there, pass through, and they're gone through to Pegasus. They make sure that that route is clean and looking good. Just that route. Pass them through by Border Market. Take them by Big Market. Especially when the tide at Demerara River is high with the market flooding. Take them through there. Y'all ain't doing that. But y'all right. Because they are stupid enough to believe what you're showing them and what you're telling them when we are telling them the truth right here. Or is it that they don't want to hear what we have to say because they don't care anyway? But let the people of Guyana decide to rise and fight and shut down and disrupt. You're going to hear, oh, we want to send in troops to protect our investments. Well, to hell with you and your investments, because people's lives matter more. To hell with you and your investments. I say that this evening. That Guyanese lives matter more. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe at some point it's going to just be a few of us standing on the side of righteousness. All right? And I'm prepared to make that stand. I am fully prepared to make that stand. I will not submit myself to that is evil. I will not. You are telling me to jump from a party, all right, that believes in moral values, that stands for moral values, that stands for integrity, that stands for transparency, to a party that has people who are responsible for so many deaths through the extrajudicial route. My brothers and sisters, I am sorry, but allow me the latitude. It is now 7:50 p.m. here in the United States, but allow me the latitude of just 1 minute to divert away and to just say this to you guys. Our brother Courtney Crum Ewing was doing the democratic thing with his little bullhorn, calling for people to vote correctly. He was just exercising his democratic right. Simple. Tag them in. Tag them in. U.S. Embassy, international community, anybody. You tag them in. That's all he was doing. When his brutal murder execution was ordered, they came up and they brutally shot him in the back of the head, leaving him on the ground to lay and die. What was he? He was a thorn in their side. He stood for democracy. He stood for democratic rights. Yet, nations that claims to be some of the world's strongest democracy come into Guyana and they deal with the same government that would have executed Courtney Crum Ewing. Those that would have crossed party lines. You cross party lines. You leave cleansed with your hands clean. And you cross. And what do you accomplish? Blood on your hands. Of the hundreds that died in the MV Barima incident. That was mass murder. That was mass execution by a government. Those children that was locked in that dorm to burn like barbecue in Madio was mass execution by a government. All those hundreds that would have been executed under the Jagdeo regime, government murders. And you, the international community, yes, and to some extent, the diplomatic corps is asking the same Guyanese that would have dealt with that trauma, all those families that has not gotten justice. Look at Peter Headley. In his own car, executed by the Guyana police force. Executed flat out, nothing else. There's nothing else to say. What? A stranger in the street shot him? You had him. He didn't fight you. It was multiple of you in that vehicle. Look at Orrin Boston. A businessman in Essequibo doing good business. Yes, he did well. Irfan Ali went down to that same area a few days before or in Boston was executed, naked in his bed, sleeping with his wife. You guys are telling me what? And I'm talking about all African men there. You guys are telling me what? These executions are done to send a specific message to African Guyanese. You challenge us and you will be executed. And you guys got James Bond talking what? You think James Bond could come and talk to me? Them guys got to sit down. Them guys got to sit down. That fool can't come and talk to me. What law degree he got? He got a degree in foolishness. He got a slave catcher's degree. That's what he got. You guys come. Come. And I'll teach you. Come. You think people don't understand and see what is happening? We see. We see. We understand. Again, I'm going to say this evening. I want to see the leader of WIN and the person who call themselves the leader of the combined opposition come out and really challenge the PPP. I want to see that. And listen, I'm going to say this. I'm watching some of you high-level leaders in APNU. Y'all seem to be falling for the trick. I'm watching you guys. I want you to know, I'm watching you and nobody is exempt. Nobody. You are being watched. You are being watched. Ladies and gentlemen, Over to You is a program where we keep it real. Okay? Over to You is a program where we keep it real. Leaders in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana must stop deceiving the people of Guyana. All right? They must stop deceiving the people of Guyana. Again, I've said this over and over to the people. Please, set some proper standards, man. All right? Stop settling for mediocrity. Stop. All right? Stop. Ladies and gentlemen, we move forward here this evening. We move forward here this evening. Look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. There's no one party. I like Gary Greenidge a lot. I like Gary Greenidge. I like his thinking. He's a thinking gentleman. He's sitting down and he's watching. Look, I am gonna say this, and look, I don't play the race game. I don't play the race game, but I gonna tell y'all something. If y'all gonna call me racist because I see something and call it out, so be it. I don't care. I don't care. I gotta know myself better than anybody. And a lot of people have been watching these programs here. All right? There's a lot of Guyanese of East Indian descent that tune into Over to You and agree with a lot of things that I see. We're not playing no race card here. Like I've said over and over before, I'm not looking for a predominantly African government. I am just looking for a government that is going to be people first. Because we can't be coming close to a 50-50 split with oil revenue and our pensioners still getting $46,000 a month. Okay? When you want to give our pensions $46,000 a month, you got to take some of that money and you got to build housing projects, elderly projects in Guyana, and everybody got a nice little apartment. I believe that there's a type of luxury that our pensioners should be having. You know something, ladies and gentlemen? This government is despicable. Look how this government treats the people that have paved the way for them. this government treat the people that would have handed them Guyana. Look how they treat them. Could y'all believe that? And still some people saying, oh, this government is doing good. No. Are you guys kidding me? All those $1 trillion budgets, this government doing good? Jason Benjamin. Public servants are still to get get livable salary, means a livable wage. That's what Jason is saying. What are you talking about? He talking about teachers, he talking about police officers, he talking about nurses, he talking all of them. Well, Jason, I'm going to say this. When we sit down as nurses and public servants, and you got Patrick Yard sitting down there, the man been sitting down there since before I was born. Since before Noah built the ark. Nobody have moved the man yet. This is the problem with Guyana right there. That's the problem with Guyana. People just fight. Look, they'll get in a ring and they'll rumble with you. And then when they get in, ladies and gentlemen, look, they sit down in the seat and they fold their arm. And they look around. And then when the next time comes for the election, they get up out of the seat and we gone into another fight again. And if they win, they come back and they sit down. And they fold their arm. And story done right there. This is who we got to stop. That's who we got to stop. Leadership in Guyana lacks execution. Across the board. All right? Leadership in Guyana lacks execution. Now, you know something else too? The egos of the leaders. Oh, I'm not going to deal with him. Oh, he can't be president. Not with me being a part of the party. I am superior to him. He cannot be president. No. That is not happening. And then they go around and they talk. Some of you gentlemen in leadership, you talk more than women. You know, they always got to think that, oh, women, the start. Then you got to stop to change that. Change that. Because I believe that some of these men in leadership have surpassed the women. They talk, they create narratives. Next thing, the narrative get into the hands of social media presenters who is not too smart. They don't think about the repercussions and the implications of the things that comes out of their mouths to the audience. They don't think. They're reckless. And some of them are the ones who have the largest audience. Yes, Miss Desiree Smart Felix, too much talking, no action. Should we have been in what? Should we have been off this week from protests? No. You can't stop protesting. These protests need to get bigger. We need to teach the people. We need to edify the people as to what their future is going to look like. We worried about a 50-50 sharing agreement. Look at the loans that we've taken out already. Those loans have to be paid. Those loans have to be paid. All right? Those loans have to be paid. I asked the question, what is going to the Guyanese people? Look, there's no consultation that the opposition could come and table something and the government would look at it seriously. Naomi Drucker, Mohammed and Odessa in protest since Linden. Look, ladies and gentlemen, the APNU has to take the lead. They are the experienced party here. That party is older than just about all of us here. Okay? They are the ones that has to take the lead now. And Naomi Drucker, I'm not dismissing your point. Your point is spot on. Like I said, when you come and you sit in the seat, the hot seat, you got to take the responsibility that comes with the hot seat. When is sitting in the hot seat, they're the lead party in the opposition. I see my friend Jason Benjamin say they don't have a strategy. They're right. He's right. And with a guy named General Rahman come out and said clearly that WIN doesn't have structure. The party needs structure. The party needs structure. You talk about missing it on engagement. Need to engage the PNC. You need to engage the PNC and by extension the APNU. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want your bomb stories. I'm going to turn a bit here and pivot a bit to the PNCR and by extension the APNU. The WPA and the APNU and all the other small parties, that's mean the WPA and the PNCR and all the small parties, okay, in the APNU needs to come together and they need to assure each other that we shall continue working together. Right? Whether it is that they sign a document, sign onto a document, or whatever it is that they do, they need to get that done. The largest party by far, by quite a bit, is still known as a mass monster in Guyana, the PNCR. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to just be patient with me here. As a mass party, you must set a tone. You must have a vision as to what you're going to do. Although you are not the lead party in opposition, you must still have a vision. I hope that you guys are agreeing with me here. You shouldn't be following any other individual's vision. Right? You should not be. I'm going to give you guys two sides of a coin here. You should not be following anyone else's vision. You should have your own vision as a mass party. The PNCR. 1 year is about to be completed with this new quote-unquote government. If you ask me, I would say with this new group of criminals. Okay? All right. A year is about to pass by here. We then move the needle with regards to GCOM. Now, nothing much really happened. We had tragedies that, we had Farmgate, nothing. You ain't showing me nothing. Edgel is still there. Indar is still there. Nothing happened. All right? Nothing. I hope you guys are agreeing with me here. Okay. As a mass party, you need to structure yourself, you need to set up a game plan, and you need to put the players in place. Jason Benjamin, I want you to listen to me carefully on this. All right? Because you're a guy of high intelligence, you're an intellectual. Listen carefully on this. Ladies and gentlemen, the PNCR needs to come to the table and they need to call a Congress and let's see who is going to be the next leader of that party so that that person have the requisite amount of time to establish his or herself, establish his and her vision, his or her vision for that party, okay, and build a rapport, a relationship, all right, with the hardliners of that party, because whomever it is that takes the leadership of that party, they're going to be challenged. Not all is going to be on board. They're going to have to sell their vision. They're going to have to convince people to come on board and stand in line with them. That, ladies and gentlemen, that there takes time. That should have been done like yesterday. Look, I know you have periods in which every 2.5 years, we're going to call a Congress or whatever the case is. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you have to go to your general counsel, you have to speak to them, and you have to move away a bit from that. Okay? Because this is for the greater good of your party. You have a lot of young people in that party, and I give them credit. I give them credit because nothing tells me that they are not currently under pressure and being recruited, or attempts are being made to recruit them. Okay? Nothing can tell me that. All right? So like young Michael Richmond and these young men, I say, guys, continue Eden Corbin and continue to stay in your lane on that train line. All right? Because maybe you guys are the ones who is going to be stepping into the leadership positions to lead this PNCR party. Hold your horses. Don't jump gun. Onyx Duncan, stay in line, brother. You're doing a good job. You're not accepting people's attempts. All right? You're standing for truth. You're not going and get your hands wet with blood. Getting your hand wet with water is one thing, but with blood is something completely different. Right? We got to continue to encourage the young people in that party. A Congress must be called as soon as possible, I believe, so that you can start laying down the groundwork for 2030 or whenever. What if a snap election is called? No Congress was held, nothing was done, you're not prepared. What's the saying, ladies and gentlemen? To fail to prepare is to prepare to fail. I'm going to touch quickly here on the WPA. All right? The leadership of the WPA is starting to age. Right? And that's a natural thing. It's going to happen to all of us. All right? The leadership in the WPA is starting to age. And ladies and gentlemen, eventually, I believe you guys going to see Brother Kedaki Amsterdam at the helm of that party. And I'm not trying to say this to dismiss Dr. David Hines. No, Dr. David Hines is always going to play a key and a massive role in that party. Remember, he's a teacher. He's a professor. All right? He can go there and help, when it comes to bringing people on board, selling the ideology of the party to young people. Right? Look, ladies and gentlemen, at some point, there must be a shift. And you cannot allow that shift to be too late. Because if it is too late, where does that leave us? The APNU. So far, the APNU has been a react party or institution. They react to things. Okay? They don't see something is wrong, and before there's a tragedy, they say, oh, we're going to protest this. This boat need to fix. Or this need to fix or that. We're too passive, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting blackouts. Nobody in protest GPL. The water is bad. Nobody in protest GWI. Till the government say, hey, we're gonna get into the bottled water business. We're gonna invest in the bottled water business. And that was allowed to just pass like that. And I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, after this last sitting in Parliament that they would have had, the main goal of this last sitting in Parliament was to pass that financial paper that was presented and passed. The $55 billion. All right? $55 billion more upon the Guyanese people. That was the bottom line of the last Parliament. The next one coming up, ladies and gentlemen, that president's bill will be tabled once again. And I want to tell you guys that I believe we're going to pass this time through. And this is what we are forced to live with. Yes, Jason, 55 billion more upon them. So, for all the Guyanese that wants to sit down in their homes and turn on the blue app or the red app, and you want to watch your brothers and sisters out there trying to fight for them and fight for you, and you just sit down in the chair waiting to reap the spoils. Continue to do so at your own loss. At your own loss. All right? Jason, is what you just wrote there, is that going to be tabled also? Please answer me in the comments. Something about rights. So you know what I'm talking about. Is that something that is due to be tabled at the next parliamentary sitting? Like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not against investors. You know, it's a must. We welcome everyone. The diplomatic corps, we welcome them. Right? Okay, Jason is saying to me that the gay rights bill is coming up too. Well, the gay rights bill, look, everybody's a human being. I'm going to take my position on that. I wasn't placed on this or to judge anybody. All right? Once it involves children and animals and it's consenting adults, I ain't going to go and fight anybody. Right? Because it's all people that work and pay taxes. It's all people that work and pay taxes. It's all people that's got to contribute to society. Right? So I believe it would somewhat be disingenuous for me, to just come out and slander a set of people just like that. Right? So I am not going to do that. I say, let's see where that go. But here, for the most part, I don't expect the religious organizations in Guyana to challenge that, because the religious organizations in Guyana, most of them is already on the PPP payroll. So there is already collusion there. So I don't expect there to be any challenge there. All right. Good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming down here to program time for this evening. I will be back tomorrow as we continue to have our discourse here. But let me say something in closing here. When we talk about an APNU vision, all right, your leaders also, they must be able to rest and feel comfortable amongst their own people. All right? I'm not calling myself a leader, but I'm saying here that I sit on this program with you guys every Saturday and Sunday and whenever I am on during the week. And I am comfortable. All right? We are able to have a discourse. I am able to bring ideas to the table, and I am able to take your ideas from the comments and expound upon them, right? That's what we do here. But let me say this to you guys. I want you to listen carefully. When people in your own party giving out party intelligence and got social media people beating away at a leader, oh man, is a human being. He gonna just go in the car and think himself up and say, look, damn if I do, damn if I don't. All right, anything he come out to say, he gonna be, although sometimes, and I'll target Mr. Norton on this, although sometimes, you know, he comes out and he seems so confident and everything. That's a leader that has taken some real punches in not a 12-round fight, in a 15-round fight. All right? He has taken it, boy. I have never seen a leader get so much. Blows non-stop. So while I say that the party need to have a vision and all of these kind of things, I can't take that and lay it at the foot of Comrade Aubrey Norton, a leader who has been beaten down by his own people. All right? Some of them give out party information, total disrespect. All right? I can't expect that. But Mr. Norton, somehow, you're going to pull up your pants, and you're going to get a vision done. A real clear vision as to where this party is going. And we're going to have to know about this Congress. All right? We're going to have to know about this Congress, because I say this, the earlier you do it, the better. if it is going to be a change at the leadership position of the party, that person needs to be settled in. That person needs to be settled in. That person needs to know that he or she has the necessary support. All right? Some people are going to disagree nationally. We need to give those people time to heal, ladies and gentlemen, so that everybody can work as a collective. You can't do this thing last minute or else it's complete failure. Complete failure, and I'm going to tell you this, another slew of people is going to go running for the hills. Trust me on that, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me on that. Okay, I see Bob Loblaw is saying that the Congress is going to be next year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next year, September, is going to conclude year number 2. That this quote-unquote government, because this is what people want it to be called, I don't see it, but would have been sitting there. So if you're calling Congress next year, then I ask during the duration of this time, ladies and gentlemen, because we need to let every day count, every month count. So we can't sit down, all we just sit down. And we cooling out. And we tapping we on. And we waiting for when Congress is going to be called. Then we going to get up. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we'll never sit in government. We'll never sit in government when this government have all the money. They're controlling MCN. They're controlling everything. All right? They're controlling everything. So if Congress is going to be next year, as the brother is saying, I want to know, first of all, I would like a date to be given as soon as possible. It shouldn't be no fight for a date. It's just a date, ladies and gentlemen. Or give a period maybe within this month that we're going to be having Congress. Right? And then within that framework of time, you need to get some work done still. It can't be wasted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lemon is coming in. I'm thinking that Gavin Caesar sent him in, the executive producer, to say it's time. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our time for tonight. It's 8:21 p.m. sharp here in the U.S., 8:21 on the ground in Guyana. I thank you so much for allowing this program into your homes this evening. Until tomorrow night, I will see each and every one of you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. I say over to you, and I say a pleasant good evening to you. Good night.